So yes, we are here to talk about local radio with national impact. We are and have been and will continue to be in a context where local and regional media it keeps disappearing. There's more and more news deserts. There's more and more homogenization, decreasing budgets. More shared national time slots with local stations, but that is exactly why we wanted to highlight what is working, what is new, what is fresh, and what you can take away and apply to your own stations from regional players. So we have a great lineup. We have some public service, we have some commercial folks on stage showing you how they are making big impact from maybe small stations. So first I would like to bring up Hedvig Nilsson. She's the news editor at P4 Värmland, who is a local station of Swedish radio. So thank you, Hedvig.
Hello, as Sarah said, I work as a news editor at Swedish radio's local broadcaster channel P4 that covers the whole of Sweden. We reach more than 3 million listeners per day. It's about 30% of the population in Sweden, and have 26 local stations spread throughout the country. And I dare say that we are oasis in the news desert, and I take great pride in my work as a local journalist. At Channel P4, we try to make journalism not to the audience, but with them. And we are in constant dialogue with our listeners, thanks to social media. And so they can be part of shaping the content with their own stories. And see, I can change slide. Yeah, this is our company motto. It's more voices and more powerful stories for greater understanding. And I think that the P4 Story podcast has embodied that motto. And I think our closeness to the audience is the reason for this. And actually, I think local news are a gold mine for documentaries or podcasts for a national public. Why is that? Well, our reporters and show hosts, here you can see me before I turned gray-haired. We meet many people and catches different voices every day. The reporters drive around in our regions and do several live broadcasts on a daily basis. And mostly with ordinary people in front of the microphone. And then when we have big news events, of course, we are always in place to report, and we follow them up thoroughly with different angles in many short segments. But the key word here is short, for often these short segments can feel too narrow for the story. So for many years, the radio reporters working locally in Sweden felt a need to be able to publish our material in a longer format where we don't have to cut people's voices so hard, because that can sometimes feel objectifying. And also we wanted to be able to reach the national audience on our own terms. And also, I think that many Swedes are quite fed up with the picture of Sweden we see in national media. It is very centrated to the capital, Stockholm, and we want to hear more about the lives and events from the whole country. Because although there is a great distance between the south of Sweden to the north, we speak the same language, we share a similar culture. So there is actually a need here that is not fulfilled by the national media, because the national news editors are stationed in Stockholm and therefore look at the rest of the country with kind of big city spectacles. And for us, 80% of the population who don't live in the capital area, that vision can be a bit crooked. So this podcast, in many ways, was an answer to our prayers. Finally, we have a national podcast freed from the gatekeepers in Stockholm, and we can now decide for ourselves which stories we will tell the national audience. And it's also very satisfying for a reporter who is compelled to report in fragments to be able to tell the whole story with great sounds and storytelling. And since we started up P4 Story, the radio reporters all around Sweden have produced more than 40 different episodes with a great variety of content. We have crime, culture, history, human relations, entertainment, and big news events, etc. Like this story about a town in northern Sweden where young people live in terror because of an ongoing drug war, with the public shootings that are not restricted to big cities anymore, and young teenagers are being used as couriers by the criminals. My personal favorite is about a young mother who threw herself out from a burning house from the 4th floor straight into the arms of her husband and miraculously survived the fall. It's a really powerful story. But many of the episodes are actually based on investigating journalism, like the podcast about Ludde, a 13-year-old who lost his ability to walk and speak after being severely hurt in a car accident, a type of car crash that is increasing in Sweden with young victims. We have a kind of vehicles that teenagers can drive on common roads without a driver's license or a seatbelt at the maximum speed of 30 kilometers per hour. But many of them are tinkered with, so they go much faster. And they have increased a lot in numbers due to changed legislation. But this traffic problem is our most common on the countryside. So the big city-based national media have not been reporting a lot about it. But this P4 Story episode, it had everything. It not only shows the devastating consequences for the affected, it was also great investigating journalism. And this episode have been nominated for the Golden Shovel. It's one of Sweden's most prestigious prizes for investigating journalism. And the beauty of P4 Story is that when we start making the podcast, the real work has already been done. We gathered all the material, it has been aired for the local audience, but when we put it all together in a 20 minutes podcast, the story are told in a compelling and intriguing way that really captures the listener. So what we do is this: 2 local journalists, a reporter and a show host, work together for approximately 4 days to put the story together in a short documentary where they rebuild and reshape the content in a studio using sound bites from the archive. And this way the material gets new life and reaches many more, and the expired date that we normally set on news are washed away. A P4 story can live on the internet for many, many years. It's truly a kind of recycling. We recycle old news and turn them into stories. And when I look at the listening statistics, I can see a pattern that the episodes based on investigating journalism are most popular. And also that the episodes about big news events that already reached a national audience are less popular than the more local stories that hasn't been covered by national press. So that's P4 Story. And here are some takeaways that we learned from this process.
You can take a picture. Also, slides will be available after the conference. So look out for those. Woo! Calm down. The party's not yet. Next up, I would like to introduce Flavia Voinea, who is a journalist and the manager of Bucharest FM, part of Radio Romania.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. This is the best track of Radiodays. Look at the view. So I'm Flavia Voinea. I work in radio station in Radio Romania for as long as I can remember. I love doing local and regional station work in my network. Radio Romania Regional Network looks like that. It covers all the country with local and regional programs. In figures, we have 9 studios that deliver 8 regional programs, 5 local programs, 2 minorities, and 16 minority languages. We use 16 minority languages in all the studios, all over the country. If you want to say hello in our languages, you can try this slide. I will not. We try to work together really as a network, the whole 9 studios, in regarding music, news, presentation style, and even the grid. We try to start the shows at the same hour and finish the shows at the same hour all over the country. But more than that, we decided to do a common program. This is 60 minutes, Monday to Friday, and it can be listened to all our regional frequencies all over the country, from west to east, north to south. It is called 10 Times Romania. Why 10 times? Because it started at 10 o'clock. It's right after the morning show. When it started a few years back, we had 10 regional and local stations at that moment. And because, as a joke, 10 is the highest grade in the Romanian educational system, so we want to be the best of that time slot. What can you find in that program? News, local news, but with relevancy on national scale, positive information, good practice examples, individual projects on regional stations, Radio Romania, the whole company, projects or campaign, and excellence in every field. Once per week, we have a guest invited in our program, which is broadcasted also online. Everybody who is somebody is in that show. Music, theater, sports, Olympic champions. We do avoid one thing, that is politics. Beside the editorial purpose, we try to use that program as a connection for the whole network. We try to impose a common identity for the regional channels, both from the sound and the visual point of view. And this is also a very good way to promote Romania from the touristic point of view, with the traditions, with the festivals, with the cultural richness and diversity that we do have, and it's spread across the country in a more different way. We did try some different formats. For example, in one point, we had each station in the presenter seat, change that every week. In another moment, we used one unique presenter for the whole network. This is the second option, is the current situation, which were the pluses in the first case. It was good to have the diversity, but the show was missing the unity, because when every week we had a different presenters, we cannot really say that is the same show. In the current situation, the program is really coherent in sound, in content, but now the responsibility, maybe the focus, is on one studio. Which are the challenges of this program? It is hard to be one voice for the whole region when you, in fact, are a local station. The hot clock, just 60 minutes, is very tight, considering that you have to gather the information from 9 different points all over the country. It is also difficult to provide equal representation for all the radio stations. If you do left behind one station, it can be tricky, the ego, a lot of discussion in the network. So yes, sometimes we do left aside some stations, but never 2 days in a row. And it's somehow difficult to choose the right type of music. Even though you try to have the common database, we do have some particularities from a regional point of view. So in that common show, these particularities cannot be shown. What do you have to do all the time if you try to gather together the stations from different regions? You should measure the audience data for all regions all the time, and you should focus on the stations with the lower figures, because that usually means something. Maybe that station is not delivering to the national program the right news, the relevant news, or maybe they are not delivering at all. Don't try to be democratic at all cost. do what is best for the network, not for one station. This is the reason why we now are using the second situation of those I presented to you, because really it is not efficient to have different presenters of that show. So, because now the data, the audience data are good, everybody understood our decision, but it was not easy to make it and to implement it. And it's also very important to be interactive with your audience. That means contest, that means online engagement, talking to them all the time and making them part of the show. It can be done even if there are different regions and the people who is on the microphone is in the capital city, Bucharest. It's maybe a different kind of view to know that you are local 23 hours a day and 1 hour per day you are national, but it's interesting to have that switch. This is me. You can use that QR code. I've tried it. It works. If you want to keep the connection longer than Radiodays, I'm happy to. Thank you.
Thank you, Flavia. I have a lot of questions, but I'll wait till the end, like everyone else. Last but not least, Markus Knoll, Managing Director and CEO of Hit Radio and Schwarzwald Radio.
Yes,
come on up, yeah.
Hello, everybody. You see I'm at the same jacket as on the photo. The reason is I only have one. When I leave my country, it's the sorting jacket. I've got to use my cheat sheets because living to the French border since 20 years, I lost a lot of my English skills, so I'm gonna read a little bit while presenting. We're running a local radio station in the beautiful Black Forest. Who has ever been to the Black Forest? Yes, it's a beautiful region. The rest is going to be our target for this year. We live in Offenburg. We're running a local station since 35 years. Offenburg is a little town with 60,000 inhabitants between Baden-Baden and Freiburg. Our FM area is less than 500,000 people. And our problem back in time was other bigger radio stations spreading and broadcasting in our region as well, while their major campaigns, their major promotions at the same time, they always had the bigger prices. They had 5 cars and we had a bike. They offered a 2-week cruises in the Caribbean, we a Black Forest weekend. So this was a little bit boring, tough shit. We thought about what could be important in a radio promotion in the best case and how as we as a small radio station could be more successful and competitive. Okay, the most important goals of radio promotion, no surprise at this time of the day, hold listeners to the program. Yes, we do this for that. Create added values for the program, that's something new. Normal promotions in radio don't often create values for other listeners who don't participate in the game. Inspire customers and with this inspiration maybe earn money. This could be interesting for a private radio station. And while cookies will be in the future no more the part of the game, generate listener data. And we found out it's not so difficult. Look at this cat. I learned whenever you do a presentation, have a cat inside, it works. Don't bore the rest of your audience. Because we did a survey in our radio station, it came out that only 5 to 10% of the listeners think that promotions and winning prizes are really great. Almost 65% don't care. And even 25% are annoyed. They just want to listen to your program. They don't care if anyone wins anything. They just want to listen. Without we will pay your bill or the mysterious noise 3 times an hour during weeks. And then we adapted simple existing bonus systems to the radio. You know this from Miles and More, discount campaigns in supermarket, other benefit programs. We are rewarding with our local station at the beginning, and now with the nationwide program, we reward listeners who interact with other stations with bonus points. The more heard, the more points can be earned, and the collectors, they provide also content for other listeners. I'm going to show you what these are. And we didn't just want to offer not cash prizes like many other bonus systems. Once I collected some kind of points during months and finally had the choice between a suitcase, a cooking pot, or a set of knives. Very, really amazing and boring. We chose other things. We did, okay. And possibly one, our listeners gets a voucher for 5 or 10 euros and pays directly at the checkout in the supermarket, in the sports store, or at the gas station, like with real money. Or otherwise, there are hotel, restaurant vouchers, entrance tickets, wine gifts, or spirits from the Black Forest, or specialties directly ordered from our online shop and directly delivered to our listeners. How do we manage this? Our partners are paid in radio advertising for the value of the redeemed vouchers and products. So we don't pay as a radio station for these products. We generate additional advertising revenue because customers have to top up the sum from the redeemed vouchers and bonuses to reach a good radio campaign. And we bound customers to our radio station because new credits are always waiting to redeem. There's always a little price left. You have something vouchers to redeem and then to have to pay off. And we even founded partners who weren't interested in normal radio advertising, but were interested to put their gifts into our shop, in our gift shop. And so they went to be a partner for since several years. And we get new customers interested in radio, that's what I told. The benefits for our radio station, they listen longer and provide content for the program. They promote our bonus system to new listeners, and they voluntarily provide us with their personal informations. And the success story of what we call Orbits, our shop system, we launched in 2005 with our local radio station. With 500 collectors, 10 partners, we grabbed an innovation prize of 2007. It's not so amazing because everyone grabs a prize one time alive. Then in 2012, 2008, we founded a second radio program. It was a local radio program like Hit Radio at the beginning, but we switched over 2012 as first private radio station Baden-Württemberg on DAB+. And because the Schwarzwald brand is very strong and because we convinced our unique program, over 30,000 songs in the database from the 60s up to the millennium, only good news all during the day. And of course our bonus system, that's we decided in 2016 to broadcast on DAB+ throughout Germany and so auch here in Prague as well. I'm going to tell you more about the success story of Schwarzwald Radio if I've been invited to one of the future radio days. But now we have, in 2023, over 20,000 collectors with all the national data for us, for our 2 radio stations in whole Germany. Over 120 reward partners with about 200 different gifts and 4.2 million bonus points paid off yet. And this would had been 400,000 information impacts in our program. So to sum up, what we saw first, there we found out the all-in-one shampoo of radio promotion, and that was it. Thank you.
The beer is coming. I have one question to kick us off. So you've all mentioned audience interaction as a really key feature, but what are your main interaction channels? Is it your owned and operated platforms? Is it social? Which social? Are people still calling in?
Well, it's social media foremost, but people call us too, and they don't come and visit us anymore. But it's nothing else, no other platform. It's Facebook, really, and Instagram.
Okay.
And also we meet a lot of people during the day.
And do you have events as well?
Sometimes, but not very often. But when we, sometimes we move out the broadcast and we spend an afternoon somewhere and we talk with a lot of people there. Mm.
Great. Main interaction channels?
For Radio Romania, also Facebook is the main interaction channel. We also use WhatsApp as a way for people to come in. We do have events, outside events. For instance, Radio Romania is the organizer of the largest book fair in Romania, which is called Gaudeamus and happens every fall. But we also do a lot of small editions through the country. They are in spring or summer, so they are usually outside in the main square of the city in that region. And it is a very good way to interact with the audience and also a way to promote the same brand of the book fair through the whole year.
Can you explain your WhatsApp strategy quickly? Because I'm quite curious.
Usually we do a topic and we ask people to comment on that, or it's a way to be part of the contest. If we have a prize to give, usually WhatsApp is the way we choose the winner.
Okay, so people can subscribe to, it's one feed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one feed.
Very interesting. What are your main channels for audience interaction?
The main channels are Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp.
And WhatsApp as well?
WhatsApp.
Okay.
The most important is WhatsApp. The people who want to have points for interaction, for example, weather data, traffic reports, flashes reporting, that's where we pay off the points to get redeemed in our shop. And so the main channel is WhatsApp, and with the growth of our second radio station, Schwarzwald Radio, we had at the end we had in 1 hour we had about 200 WhatsApps coming in, and other 100 with other radio stations. So we had just one single person who did just manual and put the points to the different accounts. And now we got that automated. But WhatsApp is the most important.
Can you tell us how you automated it?
What?
How did you automate?
I don't know. I've got to ask my technical partner.
It's very tricky.
Yeah,
it's tricky.
yeah.
I think it's a great place for media to be.
We did a script, and we have just automated the weather data, because the weather data was the most important income. And now it's a sort of script, and the app is the message is read automatically, and if there are weather data inside, the system already automatically puts 5 points onto your account.
Wow, yeah. It's a tricky space to be in, but I think it has a big payoff. I had a question for Hedvig, actually, because Flavia was talking about the need to create a unifying sound for the show, and that's why you're currently going with a single host. But your hosts change every episode, so how do you create that sense of unity and consistency for P4 Story?
Well, they are a little bit different, I must say, because they are very different people who's doing them. But we have a sound package with signatures and background music that we use. So maybe, but I don't think we are so unified as maybe you would wish.
Do you have audience data by geolocation? So do you know if stories perform well?
No, I wish.
What are locally? Or?
I wish we had. Okay. That would be very good to see.
Suggestion box.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Who has questions for our panelists? Come on, wake up. You get a beer after.
I think my former boss, Helena, don't you have a question for Flavia here?
Why is the former boss?
Well, she now works with more important stuff.
No, the sun is coming out. We're going to go out as well.
I have a question considering
Please.
the bonus.
Oh, yes. Can you wait for the microphone? So yeah, thank you.
I understand you.
All right, tell me.
Think about people in the back rows, Okay. Hi, my name is Bartek. I'm from a local radio station, a regional public radio station in Katowice, Poland.
Okay.
And I'm interested in your bonus points program. How does it work practically? I mean, What are the bonus points for? Because that's what I didn't get from your presentation. And then you said it's when somebody writes to you about what weather in their backyard. It's the points.
They give the weather data. Our audience gives the collectors give the weather data, and then our speakers tell me, okay, Patrick from Austin, sunshine and 15 degrees. And for this service, you redeem with 5 points. 1 point is 10 euro cent. Okay, as if you do this every day, you're not mentioned in the program every day. But if you do this every day, you redeem 50 cent a day. You have 180 euros a year just to shop in, to change it over at the cash point of the supermarket, or to change it to good prices. And otherwise, you have we do quizzes, we do other stuff with our bonus points. You can win it in our newsletter, you can win it in the program, but only the people who loves to collect them. The rest of the audience is left calm, and they just listen to the good music and don't care about the rest.
Okay, so do they have to like register first to be able to?
They have to
redeem?
register
Okay.
first. It's they just register on the web with their name, where they live, and all what we want to have from them. We have really good data, over 20,000 now. We can localize in our region, in whole Germany, where the listeners are, and we can target for our customers, specifically when we have a product for the young audience. We can select a newsletter just for the young audience, and for the older one and for the middle one, for the woman, for the man, for everyone.
So, and just one more question: do you think the price are worth of joining to your program, or is it just because people want to engage in your program? What do you think is more important? Is it the practical?
No, the program is important. If the program is done, the people won't collect.
Is it about the money or engaging?
Yeah, but it was important for us not to bore the rest of the audience. To have we have 5 to 10% of the audience who love really who love to win something. And the rest don't care. The rest want to listen to the program. And so we found out this bonus system to pay off the 10% of the audience love winning, and not to bore the other 90%.
Okay, but you said you were competing with a bike against 5 cars.
Yes.
Did it change that?
That changed it, yeah. We have no bikes, we have no cars, we're no cruising. We only have all the bonus points. We left out all the other winning campaigns in our program.
Okay, but the bonus points, they are, in your opinion, equal to those cars?
You have
or just enough, equally enough?
When you collect over 100 years, you can have a car, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sign me in. Young enough. Thank you.
You touched on something really important as well, is that you are collecting first-party data, and you're able to use it for insights, for everything. So, and you're collecting that first-party data from the absolute most engaged
part of the audience.
People of in your audience. So that's the benefit for you, you know. Any other questions? Oh, we have one in the back, please.
Hello, I'm Andreas from NRK in Norway. I was wondering, you all work with listener interaction, obviously, a lot, but how visible, if you can use that word when we're talking about radio, is the listener on the air? Do you hear the listener a lot via phone or being out speaking to them, or like how important is that to you?
I can give a short answer. We often call up listeners who write to us on social media, and they are on air. So that's common.
That's great.
We also use people on the programs, but not on the common program that I was talking to about, because that the hot clock for that is too tight. We really don't have room, space to let people in when they call. On that program, only for contests or special, like an exception, But in the other parts of the regional stations, yes, we do have that. People call in or people send voice messages on WhatsApp and we play them on the radio.
Okay.
And I can say, since we have mobile reporters who drive around, we often go and talk to them in real life. So we get great sound too. Mm.
And the gentleman in the middle. No, I was curious about you as well, because you talked a lot about your competitions and the point system, but at the same time you don't want to bore the people who aren't in the competition. How big of a part is that point system in your shows? Is that all you talk about between the music, or is it other content as well?
No, it's just a side information. If now you're gonna push up a WhatsApp into the studio, and we just say Markus from Offenburg told us 5 degrees and stormy weather, and he got 5 points therefore. But that's all we talk about. Or we talk about new partners. We have a new great hotel at the Black Forest who's accepting our credit points. We're talking about the program, but we very, very slowly. The rest is in our newsletter, which is sent to all of our collectors, and on our website.
Thank you.
Last questions? I have one. I'm curious because, only one of you talked about podcasts, but I see podcasting as a really great way to further engage, especially with local news and regions that aren't maybe necessarily covered all the time, because as you said, you don't have that tight time frame. But I'm curious kind of what your nonlinear strategy looks like. What kind of, like, where you're sort of at with the podcast offering, whether that's replay, whether that's original podcast content. Flavia, would you like to?
For us, we usually do a replay or of the most important parts of the program of the day. That means interviews or people who came in our programs, but also we do some original content. For instance, we did some 30 episodes of some historical point of view from Bucharest, which was very interesting. But it's not as I don't know. It was like an exception or special project. Let's say special projects on special data when something is happening, or as an when we want to mark a moment or something, but it's not as daily activity.
Interesting.
Well, for us, the P4 story is our first real podcast at P4, so it's very new for us.
Great. No, and I love what you were saying about using evergreen content, using investigations that you are already doing as part of your regular reporting, and just presenting it in a new way.
It would be foolish not to use it and present it as a story.
Of course. Working smarter. We love working smarter. I think we are done for the day. Thank you all very much. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you for attending. Enjoy the party.
Thank you, Sarah, for the preparation of this panel. And you enjoy your evening in Prague.
Praha.
Praha. All we go.